Alright, it's that time of year again. It's time for my top 10 best movies of 2021. Quite a weird year because 2020 barely had any movies, and 2021, a majority of the movies that came out this year were movies that were supposed to come out in 2020 and got delayed to this year, so it's kind of like the scraps of 2020, but still had a lot of good movies. That's kind of what you would expect after the most anticipated movies of the year before get delayed to the next year, so that's pretty much what I look at 2021 as. It's a year that got boosted by all the blockbusters that got delayed, as well as a year where it finally feels like we're somewhat back to normal despite even the resurgence of COVID this December. Spider-Man No Way Home just crossed $1 billion, the only movie this year that did so, and that's huge news. I hope we can get 4 or 5 movies in the year 2022 that cross $1 billion. And as usual, I do have honorable mentions. These are 4 movies that I really enjoyed this year, but weren't good enough to make the cut, and they are The King's Man, Army of the Dead, Last Night in Soho, and Spider-Man No Way Home. I wanted so badly to put No Way Home in the top 10, but could not bring myself to do so. I just had way too many problems with it. It's a very nostalgic movie, but it's not perfect compared to what so many people are calling it. It's not the best MCU movie, and it's certainly not one of the best movies of all time. Anyway, guys, let's get this list started. We begin with number 10. Outside of 2021's superhero movies, and oh my god, there were way too many of them, Dune is one of the few this year that felt like a true epic, and it's a sci-fi movie. That is right up my alley. Star Wars is one of my all-time favorite movies. That's a sci-fi epic, and Dune is a modern version of that with a twist. It's as epic as ever. The cinematography is beautiful, the set design is jaw-dropping, the cast is one of the year's best, led by Timothée Chalamet and Oscar Isaac. Everyone in this movie is incredible. The action is exciting, especially with the worm scenes. This movie had it all, and it's one of the most epic movies I've seen in a long time. The crazier thing is that Dune Part 2 should be even better. Number 9. Raya and the Last Dragon was the second movie I saw this year in theaters, the first being Chaos Walking. Unfortunately, that movie wasn't very good for my first movie of the year, but Raya and the Last Dragon still stands as one of my favorites of 2021. It's as good as an adventure movie could ever get. It feels like a mix between The Legend of Zelda, Mulan, and Avatar: The Last Airbender. It has that perfect blend of those 3 titles. Raya, the movie's main hero, is a great leader, and she has a ragtag team that follows her. They are all hilarious. I love the team's chemistry in this movie. This movie was a blast from beginning to end. Number 8. Wrath of Man makes me want Guy Ritchie and Jason Statham to make movies together forever. This was the most explosive movie I saw in 2021. It's so satisfying. I know it's a bit generic, but once you get to the middle of the movie, you see how the plot unravels, and it's actually a really good mystery, and the action does not disappoint. I legit cannot get enough of Jason Statham taking his anger out on a group of people, taking guy after guy out one by one. It is so much fun to watch. Number 7. Pixar did it again with Luca. While I think Soul from the year before is a better Pixar movie, the main problem I have with that movie is that it did not tug on my heartstrings really ever. But Luca, especially towards the end, got the tears flowing. It's so cute and adorable. It's all about friendship. The 3 main characters remind me so much of my childhood. There's not a single moment of this movie that did not make me smile. It's one of the happiest movies I've ever seen. If you want to watch a movie that makes you happy, watch Luca. Number 6. Stillwater proved that Matt Damon has some serious unexpected range. He can play anybody, including an Oklahoma native. Who would have thought? Damon might give a top 3 career performance in Stillwater. He is really good in this movie. I hope he gets nominated for an Oscar because he deserves it. Stillwater is also a perfectly structured movie. The first act focuses on the mystery aspect of Stillwater. The second is more of a lighthearted family drama. And the final act is is a thriller. Stillwater gets dark and gritty too towards the end, and it's a great character study. It shows how a man from Oklahoma moves overseas and has to learn how to adapt to French culture. It is done perfectly. Number 5. It's really upsetting that Zack Snyder's Justice League was not the first iteration of the Justice League movie. Unfortunately, Joss Whedon got his hands on this thing after Zack Snyder left the first time and completely ruined it. But this version of Justice League is exactly how it should have been done. And when I talk about satisfying superhero movies, this is the one. It did everything the original version did, but 10 times better and got rid of all the crap done by Whedon. Plus, it's way more epic. It's emotionally riveting. It has a great ending, great character development that we did not see in the first movie. Characters like Cyborg actually have a character in this movie. Everybody shines in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it helps too that this movie was rated R. There's actually blood and gore in this one the way it should be. Number 4. I really wish I got to see Free Guy with a packed audience because this is the type of movie that deserves it. It's an event movie. There are several places in the script that would allow the audience to pop and laugh. That's the energy level you should get out of a movie like Free Guy. It's super funny. There's so many great moments in the movie. It has a great story. It's unique. Ryan Reynolds gives one of his better performances, and there's a touching moment at the movie's finale that really put a bow on top for me. Number 3. Talk about the right way to make a certain kind of movie. The Suicide Squad undoes the disaster that was the 2016 Suicide Squad and makes a completely different, much better movie. The cast and characters are amazing. James Gunn puts his mark on this movie. It's hilarious, it's outlandish, it's violent, it's crazy. It's everything I needed it to be. The Suicide Squad is one of the few 2021 movies that's a true crowd pleaser. Number 2. Honestly, King Richard might be the greatest tennis movie ever made and is probably one of the all-time best sports movies. From an acting standpoint, I was blown away. People talk about Will Smith's performance in Concussion. That movie does him no justice. King Richard is the movie where Will Smith shines the most. This is a career performance for this guy, and I think he deserves an Oscar. It's extremely inspirational. You see the hardships that Venus and Serena Williams went through trying to balance becoming great tennis players with school and life and their father being so hard on them. It just shows how a little push from a father or mother can go a long way. It also excels during its dramatic scenes, and the tennis sequences are all entertaining and very well filmed. Number 1. But my number 1 pick for the best movie of 2021 is A Quiet Place Part 2. There was not a single movie this year that held my attention during its entire runtime other than this film. John Krasinski's directing is at an all-time high. The performances, mainly Emily Blunt, are incredible. It's the best way to continue the story. John Krasinski keeps the movie feeling fresh because he chooses to separate the characters. And most importantly, not only is A Quiet Place Part 2 scary, but it's intense as hell. I could have heard a pin drop during my theater sequence, and that would have startled me because this movie is so quiet. And at any moment, something could have happened, and I would have been riveted. There's no other way of saying it. A Quiet Place Part 2 is a phenomenal achievement. Ever since I saw it in theaters, it never left that number 1 spot. I knew it was going to stay there for a long time, but I did not think it would never leave there, and would you look at that, it's still at number 1. And there you guys have it. Those are my top 10 best movies of the year 2021. If you also have your list for your favorite movies of 2021, be sure to let me down below in the comment section what those are. Next up is the return of my worst movies of the year list and the most disappointing movies of 2021. Get ready for those. And of course, as always, if you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.